There we go. Live. On a Thursday night. Live on a Thursday night. Let's see. Let's see if I can... let me test this out, make sure it is working. Well, I'll wait till I have a... What's up, Dr. Freeman? What's happening, my friend? What's up, Dave? First, yes. I am wondering if, Dr. Freeman, somebody, would you mind just dropping over onto the YouTube live stream just to see if it's, make sure it's working for me. You don't have to stay there. Anybody. What's up, dude? What's up, Sea Turtle Tat? How you doing? Did you just go live? Yes, I just hopped on. So, and I'm curious if the YouTube stream is working. But I just got on. What's up, Bo? I saw Bo just joined. Yeah, like I just jumped on. All right, great. You can hear me well. Good. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. So YouTube is working. All right. Panic at the Steve-O. What's up, my friend? How are you doing? I'm just sipping on some tea on this Thursday night. I'm not going to go live long tonight. It'll be a short live because I'm going live tomorrow night as well, the usual Friday night live. I'm sorry, Dr. Freeman. Yeah, those happen, man. It was it wasn't too bad of a week for me this week, but I'm sorry you had a hell of a day, man. At least there's no like hell to pay in the end, you know. Oh man, I'm sorry. For over 18 years, I love this live. It makes me feel like I'm not alone. I appreciate it. Thank you, Clay. I appreciate that. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Central. Dr. Freeman, man, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. That sucks. Yeah, you know, this past summer, we had to put down a dog that had been in the family for years and years and years as well, man. That's a tough situation. It's so tough. I read Sitting in Silence with an Enlightened Being. Oh, I read Sitting in Silence with an Enlightened Being will greatly help our enlightenment. Well, it can, and it depends on if that person is ready for that silence. We do have to, well, you know, words separate, words fall short continually. I mean, they always fall short, but I mean, we use words when necessary, and we use words that are ultimately unnecessary and really irrelevant. Words really are ultimately irrelevant because, oh, thank you, Serge. What's up, my friend? True, even. Yeah, still. Exactly. My husband, now, 2 days later, I had to put oh, man, that's terrible, user. I'm sorry. Losing a pet is devastating. Sorry. Yeah, it is. It really is. Hey, Dave. All right. It is working on YouTube. You checked it as well. Thanks. How do you feel about all the healers on this app? Oh, yeah. Well, I think I don't know how to answer that question really, because I'm sure it would be offensive, but I don't I don't put a whole lot of stock in those kinds of things. I really don't. What's up, Seven, my friend? I don't put a whole lot of stock in those healers. It's kind of like televangelists, you know, for me. It's just a weird situation. Nobody's ever asked me that before. That's an interesting question. There's power there, but not from God. I wonder what you're implying. Seem like a really nice guy, like really down to earth. Thank you, user. I feel like I am. I feel like I am. But this will be, this will be a shorter than normal live for sure. I draw the line where they believe they're better than actual physicians. Right, exactly. Yeah, I honestly don't believe them. I don't believe anything, and it would take belief for me to see those people and think, oh, they're really healing, right? They're healing through, whatever platform they're on, or television station, or whatever it is. I would have to believe those things, and I just don't. I don't believe them. I think some of them believe that they're healing people, and I think the mind's a very powerful thing. I just dropped out of my Bible study that I have been going through for a year. Oh, wow. Comfort. If they're just trying to bring people comfort, there's really nothing wrong with that. But what you find with most healers is that, they're really trying to make a dime off of their healing power that they claim to have. And really, I just don't believe that they do. How many fingers do you see? Dave, I just saw that. Yeah, why don't they go to hospitals? Exactly. Thank you. Shout out. What's up? A Zen master discovered even a bowl of water is yeah. If and that's if we're to use that language of a miracle or something like that, then you could say that all is. But I don't particularly, I'm just not fond of the religious language. I'm not fond of the language of miracles, and, there just is existence, and all of it is one existence. It's one flowing process of energy, and it's oh, thank you, Vanessa. Yeah, I appreciate that very much. Did you put a... What? So you don't believe in God? No, I don't believe in anything. Talking right now to me is miraculous. Yeah, and I can see where you say that. And I understand what you mean by that. I understand what you mean by that. But I'm not fond of using that kind of language. I can, depending on who I'm speaking with. It just all depends on who I'm speaking with. What kind of language I use. I can use the word God depending on who I'm speaking with. But I don't believe in a God out there. I don't believe that there's this entity God out there that exists and is watching you and judging you and has created you. That to me is merely a belief, and I don't have a belief in that. In a great forum, I was in discussion about it. It is rough. Yeah, it can be really rough because there's so many parrots out there. There's so many parrots that come on here. You realize gotta be a lost soul. No, I'm not a lost soul, because there's no such thing as a lost soul in that regard. You hear, were you raised religious? Yes, I was raised religious, but I really didn't. What's up, Doobster, my friend? I really didn't live. Here, I'll read that in just a second. I didn't really live according to what I was raised at the time, growing up. I had like this salvation experience later on in life, and from then I devoted my life to Jesus, and so I sold everything, went to seminary, got a Master's of Arts in Religion from Westminster Theological Seminary. I became a pastor for several years, but along the way I was researching and studying. Hey, Joanna. And I intellectually worked my way out of the religion eventually. And so I got out of ministry because I couldn't continue to preach the things that I no longer believed. And eventually got out of the religion as well because I just didn't believe it anymore. Intellectually, I couldn't believe it anymore. Ah, you went to Bible college as well? Wow. Yeah. So Dr. Freeman says, as someone who genuinely has a mental, call it damage, which can lead to episodes of psychosis, the amount of times people claimed it can be prayed away is upsetting. Right, exactly. It's merely a belief. It's a belief. And if those kinds of things could be prayed away, then everything would be prayed away. If anything could be prayed away, then everything that is not right, that is perceived to be not right, would be prayed away, right? If one person could be prayed for and healed, then every person would be prayed for and healed. Still, I'm strongly, but I find religion so interesting. Yeah, I find religion interesting as well. And I just dove in completely, 100%. I was absolutely genuine and sincere. And I went to seminary. I got the degree. I was a pastor for so many years, and I lived it. I mean, I genuinely believed. I loved God. I loved Jesus. I wanted to be like Jesus. It was my life. It was everything to me. It was every breath to me. It's all I thought about, all I wanted, all I desired. It was my passion. And, so I was in it completely. But intellectually, I got to the point where I just couldn't believe it anymore. And so I exited. No, I don't say that I'm atheist, but I don't say that I'm a theist. I don't say that I'm an agnostic. I don't label myself at all. I feel like labels kind of perpetuate the illusion of separation. And for me, separation is just that. It's an illusion. I experience existence. I experience this moment right here, right now. Everything that is existence. It's the flowing energy of the cosmos. It's that universal energy that is all, that makes up all things and is all things. And it's not energy here and energy there. Everything is energy. Everything is the universe. Everything is existence. Everything is the ocean of being. And none of it is separate. There is no such thing as separate things or separate events. All of that is an illusion. And so that illusion of separation is perpetuated. It's just encouraged by labels. And so I don't label myself. I don't feel the need to label myself. I am. That's what I typically say when somebody, well, what are you? Well, I am. And a lot of people say, well, that's blasphemy. But it's not. I am. And if all that exists is existence, I am that existence. I'm not separate from it. I am that existence. If all that exists is the universe, is the energy of the cosmos, then I am that energy. I am the cosmos. I am the universe. I am existence. Yeah, just I am. And that's enough. And I don't mean it in the Yahweh I am sense. I mean it in the absolute sense, the inseparable sense. Like everything is inseparable from anything else. It's all a whole. It all goes together. And to try to separate it out causes suffering and destruction and pain. That's why there is pain. That's why there's suffering. It's this illusion of separation. We think there's us and them. There's a separate me and everything else out there. There's inside me and outside of me. And all of that is just, there's no truth to it. It's illusion. It's illusion. We're made up of the cosmos, one and the same exactly. Hello, Ella. So I live in Galveston, Texas. Hell, Satan 666. Well, Satan doesn't exist. But, most Satanists don't believe in a literal Satan. It's mostly a religious freedom kind of stance, to prove a point. It's rhetoric. Can you start a religion? I'll follow you. Austin Shahan says, it's an illusion to define reality apart from God's word. Well, that's really just your belief. That's all that is a belief. You're believing the beliefs of ancient human beings. You're believing the beliefs of people that lived thousands of years ago. That's what you're doing, Austin. You have no knowledge of that. There is no truth in that. It's simply a belief. You believe that the Bible or the Quran, whatever you are, the Book of Mormon, is the Word of God, and that reality can't be separated from the Word of God, and that's just a belief. It isn't the truth. What you believe doesn't matter with the truth. It doesn't make it true. It's just your belief. And you happen to be believing the ancient beliefs of human beings so far removed from your own historical context and culture and sensitivities and environment and upbringing. You're so far removed from that mindset and perspective and worldview that you really have no idea what you believe as far as they're concerned. It's totally different. Thank you, Randy. Isn't it the same with unbelief? I don't know what you mean by that. So you're simply believing the beliefs of ancient human beings. And it doesn't make it true. And so when you say that, you're repeating the beliefs of other people far removed from yourself. Do you believe in the Big Bang? I don't believe anything. There are theories out there. I look at the evidence. I lean one way or another based on the evidence of and experience, this experience of evidence that I have, but I don't believe anything. And so if tomorrow the Big Bang Theory proved to be utterly ridiculously false, it wouldn't bother me at all. It's totally irrelevant to me because what exists is here, right now, right in this moment. This is existence right here, right now. Anything else is irrelevant. Anything else is a belief. And so I don't believe in anything. Flat or spherical. Check out Billy Carson and the Sumerian text. Okay, I will. But I know some about the Sumerian text. But I'm not sure about Billy Carson. Time travel thoughts. Well, time is an illusion. There is only existence in this moment right here, right now. So time travel to me doesn't make much sense logically. Hey, what's up, Bustin? Time travel doesn't, time is relative, but time is ultimately an illusion, and time is a form of measurement from human concept. It's built upon human concept, or created by human concept, really. So time travel, is just doesn't. It just seems like pure fantasy to me, honestly. It's your bro from. Oh, what's up? Who is it? What's up, which Mike? Do you not have work tomorrow? I do. Yeah, Bustin, I do have work tomorrow, so I'm not going to go live for long. This is just a real brief live. And then I'm going to go live tomorrow night, normally. So, oh, what's up, Mike? That's awesome. I have to work tomorrow, Bustin, so I really am not going to be on long. Thank you, Brandy. But tomorrow night is my regularly scheduled program. Tomorrow, 9 p.m. Central. Also, go to rickquestionsthings.com too, because I've written, just yesterday I posted a post, because I write about all kinds of things, but yesterday, based on the last live, I felt like I wanted to write a little bit, thank you, Doobster, on Jesus returning, right? What's up? Thanks, Dave. So, nice hat. I know, I love that one. Yeah, I am doing it. Yeah, I'm going live tomorrow as well. So I wanted to write a little bit about Jesus returning again. And I focused on Matthew 24 and that surrounding context. And I went through the text in an exegesis and exposition to show that the text does not teach a second coming, a future second coming of Jesus. I mean, Jesus is not coming back. Jesus, if there was a Jesus, an actual Jesus figure, it wasn't who you read about in the New Testament. That's a fabrication. That's a myth. If there was a real Jesus guy, he died just like everyone else. He was not raised from the dead. But I wanted to show that even the Bible. So a lot of people point to Matthew 24 as to prove some future coming of Jesus, right? When the world's going to end and there's going to be an end of time, and it just doesn't. It doesn't teach that at all, and I've proven that without a shadow of a doubt. If you go to rickquestionsthings.com, you can read that. Jesus is not coming back. But also, I do write about all kinds of other things. Living in the present. What is reality? The nature of reality. I read about non-duality. But also, I've got... I'm not so, thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. You've proved nothing, Karen says, but you haven't even read it, so you don't know yet. So suspend your judgment. I didn't even say that in the post. Suspend judgment. Just lay aside your bias, lay aside your programming, lay aside the ancient beliefs that you believe, because you're believing the ancient beliefs of ancient human beings, very far removed from your own historical context. But it's funny that you say you've proven nothing and you haven't even read it yet. So I invite you to suspend judgment. I love you, even though you said that. Go suspend judgment, lay your bias down, lay your presuppositions down, read what I've written, on rickquestionsthings.com and then come back and tell me that I've proven nothing. Well, then you haven't been listening, Karen. Doug says judgment comes after death, but that's just a belief. You have never died. You have no idea what happens after death. You're taking the word of ancient human beings, their beliefs, and you are believing them today in 2024, and it just doesn't make sense to do that. Do you experience death right now? Hey, Judy, do you experience death right now? No. Have you experienced judgment after death? No. Have you experienced heaven? Have you experienced hell? No. So what are you doing? You're telling me what you believe. And what do you believe? You believe what you've read in a book. And where'd that book come from? It's the beliefs of human beings 2,000 years ago and beyond. That's what you're telling me. You're telling me you believe those things. The ancient beliefs of human beings are what you believe. And you really have no reason to believe those things, really, when you really get down to it and think about it. And I'm just telling you the truth. And the only reason I tell you these things is because religion is bondage. And you'll never, ever find the peace, the freedom, the bliss that religion promises, the salvation, which isn't really a thing as far as eternity goes. Because there's no individual me to be saved. The ego is an illusion. There's no soul that needs saving. Original sin is a lie. Sin is just a religious concept. You have nothing to be afraid of as far as an eternal conscious torment or hell or judgment goes after death. You have nothing to be afraid of. That doesn't exist. It's the beliefs of ancient human beings, right? Just trying to explain their own existence. What you have is now, right now in this moment. What you have is this moment. This is existence right here, right now. And how much of our moment is wasted on thinking of the imaginative future? How much of our moment, that it's all that exists, is wasted on our thoughts of the past or reliving the past or dwelling on the past? So much of it is. And what really exists is this moment right here, right now. Because when you are dwelling on the past, you're not in the past. The past doesn't exist. It only exists right now in this moment as thoughts in your mind, present thoughts in your mind. The future doesn't exist. It's just imagination. It's imaginative thought taking place right now in the present moment. So everything is present. That's all that exists, is the present. This moment right here, right now is all that exists. And so to question and wonder and try to explain what happens after death is absolutely irrelevant, because that's just in the future that doesn't exist. You're not experiencing death right now. So in this moment, you have no reason to dwell and believe things that are irrelevant. It's totally irrelevant. You don't have to. You don't have to believe those things. And yes, it's all fear-based. That's exactly, Jama, that's exactly what I was about to say. It holds you in fear. It holds you captive and bondage in this fear, and it doesn't let you go to be free in the present like you should. Well, it's not that you should be. You don't have to be. You don't have to be free. It doesn't matter. It's your suffering. It's your pain. It's your fear. It's your bondage. And it doesn't matter if you're set free or not. It's just that when you are free of the bondage of belief and religion and all of that fear and the binding that it has on you, the yoke that really isn't easy, when you're free from those things, that's when you really experience peace. And you may go still, you're human, you go through suffering, you go through pain, you go through those experiences, but there's something deep inside you with this understanding of who and what you really are. Namely, you are existence itself. You're the universe, you're the cosmic energy, you're the ocean of being. There's something deep inside you that entire time, no matter what you go through, that it's always there. You have this peace, this deep-seated peace. That's the peace that surpasses understanding, because you realize, who am I? Well, I am existence. Hey, Critter, I saw you. Christy, what's up? We are stardust. Russell, yeah, that's another way to put it. That's what you are. Yeah, bust in the ocean of being. We think we're separate entities out in this, put into this creation, right? And we're not. We're not separate entities put in this creation. What we are we're waves, and waves aren't separate from the ocean. We are the ocean itself. I am he who exists and makes videos in Galveston. That's right. There's Dave in Galveston, my friend. A galactic burp. I love what Alan Watts says. Alan Watts says, you're the universe experiencing itself. That's what we are. We're the universe experiencing itself. We're the eyes of the universe. We're the ears of the universe. If it were not for eyes and ears, there would be no sight and sound. So here we are, the universe seeing itself, hearing itself. Tyler, Texas. Yep. Down here in Galveston. So that's who you really are. And that's what you can be set free to. You can be set free from religion, bondage, fear, belief, these things that have held on to you for far too long. And you can be set free to true peace, love, the present, living in the present. And it's not anything woo-woo. It's not anything, it's not anything miraculous and metaphysical in that sense, a spiritual sense. I mean, you can use the word spiritual. I don't mind the word spiritual, but it's just so much more than that. It transcends all that. It transcends that, because what you really are is all that exists. You're this moment, your existence in this moment. That's what you are. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that. What's up, Jay Will? Future's way better than my present. True compassion for others. Yeah, Jima. Is it Jama or Jima, I wonder? True. I'm good with Jesus, thanks. Well, that's fine, Maddie. And you don't have to listen to me. You really don't. And I don't ask anybody to believe me. I'm just telling you the truth, what I've discovered to be true. And you can go and research it and discover it yourself. But if you don't want to hear it, you can scroll. And there are 10,000 other Christian lives on right now. I guarantee you. There's not a shortage of people preaching through or preaching some verses in the Bible, or talking, praying or whatever. There's not a shortage of that on TikTok, I promise you. Oh, Jama. Okay. Jama, got it. I don't actually have that many issues with Jesus. Well, yeah. No, I mean, the thing is, I don't have a single issue with Jesus. None at all. Because the Jesus in the New Testament never existed. That Jesus doesn't exist. That's a fabrication. The story of Jesus. Now, there may have been a guy, Jesus, that these stories are based on. I'm not disputing that. There were obviously stories about somebody, right? But what you read about in the Gospels, for instance, it's absolute fiction. It didn't happen. There is an agenda, and I write about this. You can go to rickquestionsthings.com and read it for yourself. I write about this. You can go read it, but what you find in the New Testament is agenda. There's a theological agenda, and the agenda of the Gospels is to explain why Jerusalem was destroyed in 70 CE. That's why the Gospels exist. That's the whole point of the Gospels. And if you go to rickquestionsthings.com, I actually and I don't just post on these things. I write about them, but the last post that I posted, which was yesterday, is called Matthew 24 and the Coming of Jesus. And I write through and do a deep dive into the context of Matthew 24, considering the historical context, and show why it has nothing to do with Jesus coming back in the future. It has everything to do with the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE. And those writings were written after the destruction of Jerusalem to explain the destruction in prophetic hindsight. So they're writing as though those things hadn't happened yet. They're writing as though Jesus is a prophet Messiah who foretold those events. But the only thing that he is foretelling is not some future coming in 2,000 or 3,000 years later. What he's foretelling in the story is the destruction of Jerusalem, the judgment on the Jews. That's what he's foretelling. That's it. And it's written as prophetic hindsight, but that's all that they're about. That's it. That's all that they're about. But not we, but Christians, and I've been there, have accepted these traditional beliefs and dogmas and theologies as though they came about them on their own, and they didn't. Nobody has developed out their own theology and doctrines because it's all accepted and handed down. We've accepted these age-old interpretations that as our default, and we may shift theologically into another theological position. We may go from Arminianism to Calvinism or whatever, or some form of one belief of eschatology to another, or one belief of soteriology to another, or whatever it is. You can shift through theologically, but you never arrive at those things from the ground up, bare bones, nothing there. You start with blank slate and arrive. You're just carrying on the interpretations and theologies and beliefs of those before you, and they're just that. They're interpretations and beliefs, and they've missed the point utterly, because the purpose of the Gospels was to explain why their God would allow Jerusalem to be destroyed, why God would allow his people to be destroyed once again, and the temple to be destroyed once again, and be led into captivity once again. And so that's the explanation, is the Gospels. Yeshua had some great teachings to practice. There are things in all kinds of writings that you can read and that are good and that are truth, right? You can read Harry Potter and go, man, that is good. That's some good stuff right there. I'm going to underline this. That is true. But it doesn't make the story true. It doesn't make the underlying the suspected reality true, the belief true. But anyone who says love your brother how could you say that's not a good thing, because your brother is really yourself. And so when you look when you read in the Bible, love your neighbor as yourself. That is a truth that I think you compare God to Harry Potter. Well, the Bible. What happens if you're wrong? Well, I'm not, first of all. But because I've done the research, I know what Christianity is all about. I know that it isn't true. But what if you're wrong about any of the thousands of gods out there? There's so many potential imaginary situations that you could be wrong about. But it doesn't make me lose sleep at night because they're all imaginary. It's totally irrelevant. I can't. Well, I'm not exactly, Taylor. You can imagine all sorts of situations that you could potentially be wrong about. What if you're wrong about Allah, right? Or Joseph Smith's version of Jesus? What in the Christian religion? What if you're wrong about Zeus? What if you're wrong about, let me make up a god? I don't know. Well, I was going to try to make. I was just going to say something stupid. Blobbery. There's a new god named Blobbery, and if you're wrong about him, you're going to regret it. There's 1,000 billion trillion different imaginary situations that you could be wrong about. And I don't lose sleep about any of those because every single one of them is irrelevant and it's imaginary. And so it has nothing to do with me in this moment right here, right now. It has nothing to do with anything that I experience in this present moment as existence itself. Doppy, ever had second thoughts? No, I don't have second thoughts at all because I've done the research, I've done the work, I've come to my own conclusions, I've walked my own path. So I don't have second thoughts at all. I'm always open-minded. But as far as Christianity goes, I've been there, I've done that, I've done the research, I've arrived to the understanding intellectually that it isn't true. Now, if somebody asked me the other day, well, what would it take for you to believe in Jesus? And it would take literally him. It would take something undeniable, absolutely undeniable, that didn't require me to believe, right? That didn't require me to believe. It's just nonsense to believe a God exists. No need for reason. Right? It's just a belief, isn't it? It's just a belief. You could just ask him, you don't think I did? Come on. I was absolutely genuine and sincere. I loved God with all my heart. I wanted to be like Christ. That was my life. He was my life. You don't think I asked? Come on. I've done the research. Intellectually, I couldn't believe. So when I arrived at the point where I couldn't believe it intellectually, I begged God to help me. And to God, I said, you know my mind. You know what I know, what I feel like I know, what I've known by research. If I'm wrong, show me. But whatever it is, you have to do it, because with what I know, I can't believe anymore. It's impossible. You can't believe something you know to be false. And when I arrived to the conclusion that it's false intellectually, I couldn't believe it anymore. It's like, here's my analogy. It's not just me, but it's like walking into a dark room, stepping on a rope, and believing that you just stepped on a snake, right? You're just like, you believe it wholeheartedly. Oh my, I just stepped on a snake. I'm terrified. I run to the wall. I flip on the light. I look back in the light, and I see that it's a rope. It never was a snake. It's just a rope. Intellectually, I've been enlightened with the light coming on. I know it's not a snake. It's always been a rope. I stepped on it. Although I believed it was a snake, it's not a snake. It's just a rope. And there's nothing I could ever do to make myself believe that rope is a snake ever again. It is impossible. It's impossible. And so the same thing is true when you come to these realizations about religion. You come to the realization that religion is not true, like Christianity or Islam or Mormonism or any of them, that they're not true. And once you come to that realization intellectually, there's nothing you can do to make yourself believe it again. Believe me, I didn't want to lose my faith. It was my life. I loved God. Like, I was just living for Jesus. I gave my life for. I sold all of my possessions. I gave everything that I had away, that I had left. I moved. I went to seminary. I became a pastor. I lived on dirt. I lived on nothing, for most of those years. I didn't want to lose. It was all for God. I believed wholeheartedly. I didn't want to lose my faith. So I was begging God to help me, begging. And the silence that, if everyone is honest, the silence that you're met with, no matter what, you're always met with silence, because that God isn't there. And so the silence that I was met with, and I remember the moment. I've told this story before. I remember the moment. I remember I had spent the day, I'd spent hours out on the coast of Louisiana, because this is where I was at the time, in Louisiana. I was living in Louisiana. And I was out on the coast just praying and begging and crying, because I knew what I knew intellectually, and I couldn't bring myself. I was like, what do I do? I can't believe this stuff anymore. I can't. Everything that I've researched and studied over these years has led me to the place where I can't believe. And I remember driving on the 210 bridge coming out of Lake Charles, driving on the 210 bridge. It's a big curved bridge, and I'm crying and just begging God, please, you know what I'm going through if you're there. If you created my mind, you know my mind. You got to do something. Help me, right? And that silence that I was met with, that utter silence, was my answer. And in that moment, I knew, because I couldn't believe anymore. I had no faith left, because intellectually I knew Christianity wasn't true. So in that moment, I said, I'm done. And this was over 10 years ago. This is over a decade ago. But I said, I'm done. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I'm done. And from that point forward, I walked my own path. So I've recently had this experience. It's why I'm turning away from religion. Yeah, Judy, I know. And I feel for you, because I know exactly what you mean. I know what you're going through. I've been there, and a lot of us have. A lot of us have been there, so you're not alone. I know I'm missing a lot of comments, but every once in a while I'm glancing down to see what I catch. It is true, brother. Brother, you just let the devil take over your thoughts because you didn't have patience for God. And that's just not true. There is no devil. The devil doesn't exist. The devil doesn't exist. That is a belief. That's a belief to explain away what I have come to experience and realize intellectually. And I don't accept that. I don't believe that. Deconstruction is rough, but ultimately liberating. Hallelujah. Amen. Yes, it is. It really is. It really is. And it's hard, man. It's hard. Busted. It's hard to go through deconstruction. It really is, especially when you're as deep as I was, right? When it was literally everything, it's hard because you lose everything. And there are so many pastors and preachers and ministers out there who don't believe anymore but can't get out. You would be shocked. I'm a part of the Clergy Project. I'm a member of the Clergy Project. And it's an organization for ex-pastors, ministers, preachers, and current pastors, ministers, preachers that no longer believe. And you would be shocked at the number of pastors, preachers, ministers who don't believe, but they have to continue the show because they don't know a way out. They can't get out. They think that's all they can do. It's their livelihood. It's everything. It's their life, their livelihood, their family, their community, their friends. And yes, you're right, and Jerry, it's a business as well. It's a business. And so there are so many of them that tell us, drop some names. No, I never could. I took an oath to join the group that I would never ever disclose any names. So I have integrity, which is why I could no longer preach. I couldn't continue to preach things I no longer believed. I have integrity. I just couldn't. I always say I could have been a millionaire. With the knowledge that I had and the dynamic that I had, I could have put on the show, and done something like Kenneth Copeland or Benny Hinn or Joel Osteen or any of those guys who are really atheists. They're really atheists. They don't believe. They're just raking in the dough. But I have integrity and I couldn't do it. I'm the same way, right? Why are we existing? Well, why are you asking that question? That is a religiously motivated question. The why is really irrelevant when you are living in this moment. When you are purely in this moment, as existence itself, living right here, right now, not with your mind in the imaginary future, your mind in the past that no longer exists except as thought in the present, then why is irrelevant? The why is irrelevant. What happens after death? Irrelevant. And no one knows. No one, absolutely no one can tell you what happens after death. And for someone to tell you what happens after death, and Jen just asked, where do you think we go after death? So for someone to tell you where you go after death or what happens after death, it is purely imagination or belief. That's it. It is purely 100% imagination or belief. There are near-death experiences, but there are never death experiences. Those things just don't happen. Near-death experiences occur because of a phenomenon in the brain where chemicals that I will leave unnamed are firing off, and there's things going on in the brain. It's not completely dead. It's not a black brain, right? When you look at images, there are dead brains and there are near dead brains, and those are always near death brains. There are no death experiences. No one has ever been like head gone, right, and come back from that to tell us. And so anyone who tells you what happens after death or where you go after death is just giving you their belief or their imagination. It's total fabrication because no one knows. No one knows. And not only that, but the question, what happens after death, is irrelevant because you won't know. You cannot know. It's impossible to know until you experience death. Until you experience death. That's it. Yeah, it's just imagination, exactly. I'm going to believe the one who actually rose from the dead. But you got it. At least you said it's a belief. It's purely a belief because there's absolutely no evidence for that whatsoever. No eyewitnesses, nothing. Because the Gospels that tell about it were written well after the destruction of Jerusalem. They were written after, well after the supposed events. So you are purely believing a belief. The words of ancient human beings. The beliefs of ancient human beings. So... done with belief, sticking to knowledge. Yeah, there you go. I don't believe in believing. I don't believe anything. There's no reason to believe anything. Why believe anything at all? Why do we feel the need to believe anything? Right? Why do we feel like we have to believe something? Well, it's because of the way you were brought up and raised in the environment. It's because we have been, there were centuries where you had to believe, or else you were a heretic. You could possibly be at the stake or something, like lit on fire. You had to believe for centuries, for ages. We had to believe, right? No one was free not to believe, and so it's been ingrained and conditioned, and we've evolved and adapted culturally and in all sorts of ways to believe, and that's why we believe. There's no reason to believe other than that. I think we're meaning-making machines, evolution, etc. Right, meaning-making is a modernity problem. Right. Yeah, we don't need belief. You don't need belief. You really don't. Just like you don't. Hey, Christopher, what's up, my friend? You don't need belief. Just like you don't need a God. You don't need religion. You don't need those things. You think you do. We feel like, for some reason, and I just explained why, we need a belief. We need a religion. We need a God. And it's just been ingrained, indoctrinated, programmed into us for ages, to make us feel like we need those things, and we really don't. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you, Christopher. So, thank you, Judy. That would be cool if it let me tip it. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Kyle, I appreciate you, my friend. Why scientists are generally atheists. They understand the chemistry, biology, etc. at a fundamental... Right. That's right. And, I don't label myself... Thank you, Christopher. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys. I don't label myself atheist. I don't label myself anything. I just, when I talk about existence, I truly mean it, that existence is all that exists. And that means that everything is that existence. Thank you, Bo. You're not separate from existence. There isn't me that was put into this existence as this lonely soul that needs saving, or that I'm going to go somewhere else. There is existence, the universe, the energy of the cosmos, right? And that's what we are. So separation is an illusion. The idea, the illusion is that we're separate from each other, that we're separate from everything around us, right? That we're separate from everything that's happening and going on. But it's the happening of the universe. It's the happening of the energy of the cosmos. Everything is a happening of existence itself, and so are you. That includes you. You are existence. You are the existence. You're the universe. You're the energy of the cosmos. And so, for me, labeling myself just kind of perpetuates the illusion of separation. It makes people, think, oh, he's this and I am this, or he's that and I am this, and it just creates that boundary, that border between us. And really what I'm doing is, and what the bondage of religion that I'm talking about is that it perpetuates the illusion of separation as well. And so I'm breaking down that bondage, I'm breaking down those borders, I'm breaking down those walls, and just sort of mending in some way this separation that we've imagined, because it really is just imaginary. It's an illusion that we're separate. We're not separate. We're not separate at all. We are all existence. We're waves of the ocean of being, but waves aren't separate from the ocean. Waves are the ocean. And so when you realize that, and you realize what you really are, who you really are, what you really are, however you want to put it, you realize that I am all that exists. I'm continuous with all that exists. I'm in this, I'm flowing with existence, not with existence, but as existence. When you understand that you're flowing as existence, you are existence flowing in this form. That's what you really are. There's no separation at all. Well, you really kind of transcend labels at that point. And then, of course, when you label yourself, you feel a necessity to stay within a certain box and use particular language, or stay away from this language or that language, or this might sound one way or the other, like I'm not part of this club or group. So there's that aspect as well. But really what it comes down to is a transcendence of labels, because you realize there really isn't any separation at all. So I don't label myself anything at all. I mean, I operate as a human being in this egoic form that is a happening of the universe as well, just as everything else. And so I see it all as a happening. It's all a happening. Not a doing, but a happening. How was the universe made? Again, somebody asked that a while ago, and it's just, when you say made, you are bringing in your religious concepts. Why ask it that way? Why ask, how was the universe made? That's an irrelevant question that is absolutely meaningless, and it's religiously motivated. Number one, you say it was, I'm not just saying, but people say it was made. That's a religious belief. That's a belief, purely a belief. There's no facts, there's no evidence that there's this maker of the universe, and he or she or whatever it is made it, formed it with their hands, right? That is a belief. And when you say how, well, you're asking for belief as well, because it's an irrelevant question that you, as in this moment right here, which is all that exists, can't answer. You can't answer that question apart from just believing something. It's impossible. It's impossible to answer that question without believing something, without answering it with a belief. And so if you were in this moment, Brianda, we don't come into this world. We come out of it, right? Like an apple from an apple tree, right? Yeah. We're the well, I just love the analogy of the waves of the ocean of being. So if existence is an ocean, let's just use that analogy, and it's all analogy. All words fall short. No words can adequately describe what anything is at all. We're really just grasping it at straws with words, because words are scalpels and they're slicing and dicing reality, which cannot be ultimately sliced and diced because it's inseparable. But when you have to use words, I really do like the analogy of the ocean. The ocean of being is, I live on an island. I live in Galveston. It's an island, and I go to the beach. I see the beach every day because I live right down from it, so I drive a couple blocks down and look at it at least. And when there's waves, I surf. I'm out in it every chance that I can get. And the waves, I don't look at them as separate individual entities because they don't exist separately. The waves are the ocean waving. That's what they are. And if existence, everything is an analogy. So if existence is an ocean, right, the ocean of being, then everything, every supposed thing, and every person, and every event, they're all waves, right? But again, just like the ocean out there and the waves out there, the waves aren't separate from the ocean. It's the ocean waving. It's the ocean of being waving. You are the ocean of being waving, which makes you the ocean. You're not separate from it. You're not a separate entity from it. You're not other than it. You are it. Post-op. So I ask Christians, where does that leave me now? Am I automatically doomed to hell? Right. So you don't have to worry about that, obviously, and you know that because hell doesn't exist. We know that hell doesn't exist, right? It's a religious concept. And the whole idea of hell is all over the place in not only in Christianity and Judaism, but all kinds of religions. So there's no mention of hell in the Old Testament. There's no concept of hell in the Old Testament. There's this Sheol, or Sheol, most people say. Sheol is a place of the dead where everybody went, right? And was it even believed literally? We don't know, right? Thank you for the rose, Pam. But then you get to the New Testament, you have this Gehenna. But it's not just in the New Testament. You have Gehenna in the Old Testament. It's just not hell. Right, that people think hell is in the New Testament. Gehenna in the Old Testament is the Valley of Hinnom. It's a Greek transliterated word from the Hebrew, which is the Valley of Hinnom. And the Valley of Hinnom is used for analogies or for judgment language, which is a physical language, because it was a valley outside of the walls of Jerusalem, outside of the city of Jerusalem. And so when people would come, when in the belief, God would send people to punish his people, right? Send other nations. He would threaten them with Gehenna, like their corpses would be out in Gehenna, and their bodies would be laid out in Gehenna, right? So it was like a physical thing. It was a physical warning. And Gehenna in the New Testament is the same thing. Playing TikToker, the toothache was hell. It was, and that's the hell that exists. Is a state of mind. So in Gehenna, Gehenna in the New Testament is really the same concept. There's a little bit of Greco-Roman mixture in there of an afterlife damnation place in some of Judeo-Christianity that you find in that Second Temple Judaism, and I don't deny that. But in the Gospels, when you read about Gehenna, which is where you find Gehenna, it's talking about the destruction of Jerusalem. Oh, thank you, Delacroix. When you read about Gehenna in the New Testament, it's no different than reading about it in the Old Testament. It's the Valley of Hinnom, and it was talking about the destruction of Jerusalem that was just about to happen in 70 CE by the Romans, the Roman armies. When they surrounded Jerusalem, they destroyed Jerusalem, they sacked Jerusalem, destroyed the temple, took the people into captivity again for the second time, and destroyed the temple and took them into captivity a second time. Thank you, Bo. That is the same Gehenna that is referenced in the Old Testament, which in the Old Testament, it's 100% without a doubt meant physically, that it's a threat that, hey, your corpses are going to be thrown out in Gehenna. Same thing in the Gospels. Your corpses are going to be thrown out in Gehenna. And that's what happened during the siege of Jerusalem. Their bodies were laid out everywhere. And that's what the whole Gospels, that's what the Synoptic Gospels at least are about in the New Testament. It's all about the destruction of Jerusalem. In fact, if you're interested in that, I don't just write about these things. You can go to rickquestionsthings.com and read all kinds of stuff. I write about the present moment, non-duality, being aware, all those kinds of things. But I did just post, I have posted Why I'm Not a Christian Anymore, but I did just post yesterday a post called Matthew 24 and the Coming of Jesus. And I clearly display that according to Matthew, there is no second coming of Jesus out in the future. It's all a reference to the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE. Nice, Lori. Okay, let's see. Man, it's hot in here. I need to turn the AC on. We've had the heater on. Now suddenly it's hot. It got up to almost 70 degrees today. You need a podcast. I've been saying that. Well, I am streaming live on YouTube right now. So I started streaming on YouTube as well. So once this live's over, I'll kind of edit out the beginning where I'm not saying anything, waiting for people to join, and then I'll throw it up on YouTube as well. It'll automatically feed to YouTube, but then I'm going to take it and cut some and then put it back on YouTube. But I do need a podcast. And also what I want to do too, I used to have, what is your shirt? Honestly asking. I made this shirt. Also, so on rickquestionsthings.com, I do have a shop as well. I love to design stuff, and I design so many shirts and stuff. So you can go to rickquestionsthings.com. You can get mugs like this, the ghost of Alan Watts on it. This one's faded so bad because I put it in the dishwasher. You shouldn't put these in the dishwasher, but I kind of like it like that. Bustin likes it too, I think. You can get all kinds of stuff on rickquestionsthings.com. It looks like me, myself, and I at the moment. So wait, it says there's two of us watching. So me, myself, and evidently one else. Yeah, so there's maybe two people on YouTube, streaming on YouTube, watching the stream on YouTube. Alan Watts was great. Oh, yes. Understatement. I love Alan Watts. Absolutely love Alan Watts. So when I left Christianity, I deconstructed, which that wasn't really a word back then because it's over a decade ago. When I left Christianity, it wasn't long after that I came across Alan Watts. I'd never heard of him before. And I heard this guy saying something. I was like, what is he talking about? This sounds so interesting, and it resonated with me. And man, he took me on a ride. He took me on a journey. I studied Alan Watts for a long time. I still love him. I still listen to him regularly. I have Alan Watts shirts that I make and put on rickquestionsthings.com as well as the mug. The mug says, and so do the shirts, some of them, "You are the universe experiencing itself." That's what it says. You can just hardly see it anymore because I dishwashed it so many times in that sanitizing dishwasher. I put it in like the extreme mode. Try looking for the books you recommend last. Oh yeah, they're hard to find. Send me a message, Judy, and I'll send you some of them that I talked about. I'll send you some links maybe. So this particular book that I was recommending last time, this is this tiny little Thich Nhat Hanh, The Heart of Understanding, Commentaries on the Prajnaparamita Heart Sutra. This one's out of print. I just discovered it's out of print. However, it's been republished and expanded. So it went from this to this. So this is the same book, but it's a new edition, and it's expanded tremendously, and it's called The Other Shore, Thich Nhat Hanh. I'm reading it right now, actually. I've read this one several times, and I just got this one in because I discovered looking into this one again that it's out of print, and that it was rewritten and expanded tremendously. But so I'm reading it now, The Other Shore, and it's really good. I really do love this sutra. I have no labels, right? But this is a Zen sutra, the Prajnaparamita, the Heart Sutra, and I have found in times of pain, or if I'm going through something, and sometimes mantras help numb the mind, or take the mind, or refocus the mind. Yeah, Thich Nhat Hanh is fantastic. I love Thich Nhat Hanh. He's such a sweet guy. The Heart Sutra at the end is Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. I love to recite that in my mind just because it like takes the mind from focusing on the pain, and you can transcend that a little bit. Rick, keep doing what you're doing. There's a lot who need your help. Thank you, JRV. I really appreciate that. It's very encouraging, my friend. Because, I'm sure you're aware I get a lot of hate. And judgment. But it doesn't bother me. The hate and the judgment and the comments and all, they don't bother me at all. Not in the least. But the encouragement is good to hear, too. I love that. And I appreciate that very much. So, thank you, Secular Emu. Misery loves company. Yeah, true. It's right on. That's so true. It's so true. They hate you because they wish they had your mentality. They're trapped, and they are trapped, and it's scary for them. I know, and I get it, and I understand, and that's why it doesn't bother me, and that's why I don't judge them, and I'm not hard on them. Although I'll still, I'll tell them what the truth is, but I'm very easy on them, especially when I bring on guests, like I do on Friday nights typically. I have good conversations, genuine conversations most of the time. Sometimes I'll get the apologists on there that try to parrot all their apologetic tactics that don't work on me. But I like to have genuine conversations with them. I'm very patient with them because I understand. I get it. Christians claim to have the most morals, but yet are so judgmental. Yeah, they can be. They really can be. So I'm going to show you a couple other things too. 3 Zen Sutras. As always tell you, Rick, you're doing the Lord's work. Keep it up. Thank you, Bo. I love you, man. 3 Zen Sutras. So this is a translation by Red Pine. Excellent translator. This has 3 Zen Sutras in it. The Heart Sutra, but it's the longer Heart Sutra than what Thich Nhat Hanh is going over in that one. The Diamond Sutra and the Platform Sutra. This is really good as well. I love it. I love to read that kind of stuff. Krishnamurti has some good stuff. First and Last Freedom. Very intellectual. It's it just cuts right through. I love to read the Tao Te Ching. Anything Alan Watts is absolutely wonderful. It's just incredible. I love Alan Watts. So The Way of Zen. I love this book. I love all of Alan Watts' stuff. I really do. And then, if you're a Christian, if you're a believer, this is a believer, and he's a scholar of the Bible. This guy, I've read almost half of this book, and then it got into a section where I kind of lost interest because he's getting into stuff that I'm really not. Well, I'm interested in the scholarly work, like no matter who it is, believer, unbeliever. I love the scholarly take on things like the Bible or Quran and all that kind of stuff. So this is called A History of the Bible, the book and its faiths by John Barton. This is pretty good. I mean, if you're wondering about how the Bible came about and the different theories, scholarly theories, and what the predominant theory is on how the Bible came about, the Bible's not this seamlessly written book. The Old Testament is knitted and fabriced together is written by all kinds of different people with contradictions all over the place, and they're just woven together to try to make sense, right, and create this seamless story. But you can see the fabric, you can see the different fabrics throughout, the different styles and languages, and then the New Testament, how did it come about? And you can read some of that as well, and what the scholars are talking about in the scholarly discussions at the moment. So I enjoy stuff like that as well. That title of that last one, the Bible scholar book. So this guy, John Barton, A History of the Bible. John Barton. And, there's probably better things out there too, but I think he touches on a lot of the present scholarly discussions in a good way that is pretty, yeah, you're welcome, Julie. That is relevant if you're interested and curious about those things. Azazel, I'm not accepting guests tonight, but I do tomorrow night. I do on Fridays, just because I'm about to get off here in just a few minutes. I've been on for an hour and I got to get up really early. I teach computer science and entrepreneurship as well, so I've got to get up and teach kids how to code. I also really like Brett Earhart. I think that's his last name. Earhart. Who is that? There's Bart Ehrman, too. That's a good one to read. Bart Ehrman is a good one to read. As I was writing how Chris stole from pagans. Lori. Rick, this has been so awesome. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Then said pagans are bad. What? I have a more happy life. Okay, that's fine. It can never be holy. Yeah, holy implies degrees and levels of existence. And you are not separate from existence. You are existence. You are existence. So computer science. Boring. Let no one scare you or guilt you or try to make you believe that you are sinful and that you deserve hell for eternity, because that just isn't true. You are existence, and once you realize that, you don't need someone to scare you into anything, because once you realize that separation is an illusion and that you are this existence itself and you are the energy of the cosmos, you are not separate from anything else or anyone else around you, and deep down you know who you really are. You don't need anyone to scare you into anything. You transcend all of that. Nonsense is what it is, really. You transcend the need for belief. You don't have to believe anything. The more I deconstruct, Kim says, the more my self-confidence goes up. Yes. Love, I found this live tonight. I don't believe in sin. It's about accountability for behavior and learning. Weirdest dream about Jim Carrey last night. What in the world? Get with deprogram. JMO, that's funny. So if you'll go to I want to plug my site again. I invite you to go to rickquestionsthings.com. You can read what I've written there about all these kinds of things. You can read my exit out of Christianity and religion and why. You can also read about you can read what I've written about non-duality and You're so happy. I love it. Thank you, Julie. Yes, I am. You can read about living in the present, who you really are. You can read about all those things, awakening and what that means, and consciousness. And you can read about why I'm not a Christian. And you can read why Jesus is not coming back and why there's not a hell. You can read about those things as well. You can also read about why I don't label myself. I wrote a post called Beyond the Dance of Atheism and Theism. And I just kind of explain why I don't label myself. I don't have a label. I don't put a label on me. People may label me, or, a lot of people want me to label myself, but I just say I am. So somebody said, check out Yin and Yang. Yes, I have. I do. I love Taoism. I love Eastern philosophies. I love Eastern non-dual philosophies. And so if you go to, I'll share with you a great analogy about the now. Okay, cool. Definitely. Yeah, I look forward to that, Brianda. I am that I am, right. And you could just say I am. And I am. I don't even have to finish that, Yeah, Taoism, Zen Buddhism, Advaita Vedanta, any of the non-duality wisdom paths and ways. I really enjoy those things. I really do. What you believe, as long as we unite and advance each other, all that matters. Right, and that's the key, is breaking down that illusion of separation and realizing that we really are all this one existence. We really are one. All right, so... consciousness is a trip. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I look forward to that too, Bo. All right, I'm going to hop off because I do have to get up in the morning. I love you guys very much. I appreciate you. Go to rickquestionsthings.com. I would love for you to visit rickquestionsthings.com. Let me know what you think. You can reach out to me there as well. Thank you. You can reach out. Good night, Bo. You can reach out to me there. I have several means of reaching out. I have a page called Ask Rick where you can ask a question and I'll respond with a video comment. No one's really done it yet. I just launched it not too long ago, maybe last week. Hey, Aaron, what's up, my friend? You too, Dr. Freeman. I love you, my friend. Great live, bro. Thank you, Bustin. I love you, dude. Yeah, I'll talk to you soon. And I'll see all of you tomorrow night. I'll be on tomorrow night. And much love to you as well, Steph. I'm going to do it. Lana. Yes, please. Good. Jed, what's up, my friend? How long have you been on? Night, Rick. See you tomorrow. Yes, see you tomorrow, Timo. I'm going to... Okay, I'm going to... Oh, wait, I can't see that chat. Weird. I'm going to text you. Okay, good. Yes, Dave. Thank you, Kay and Jama. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Central. Go to rickquestionsthings.com. I will see you tomorrow. I love you guys. I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow, 9 p.m. Central Time. Love you too, Dave. All right. Oh, and also, real quick, I do stream on YouTube as well. So I'm simultaneously streaming on YouTube. So tomorrow, Fridays it does get a little bit chaotic and hectic. I do start taking guests. 7. Yeah, exactly. Never forget loyalty. Right. Exactly. I start taking guests on Friday, and the comments get really crazy. There are a lot of parrots on Friday nights. So, so if you ever feel like you're a little overwhelmed with the comments and all that kind of crazy shit that happens on those lives, you can hop over to YouTube if you want. It's a little bit more peaceful. But if you like seeing all the stuff, it's pretty funny too. All right. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Central. Yeah, it has been nice, Julie. All right. Good night. Dave, you just texted me. Still live on YouTube. I said last time this might start being the after party on YouTube. Nice. All right. I'm going to jump off YouTube, and Dave, I'll text you back. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.